From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a big morning of Mornings LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2022. The incredible great news is that the Build Back Better Act will pass, and Joseph Biden says he's ready to send out all those incredible checks to the American people. But CR for stimulus 1.0, 2.0, and 3 and 4.0 are eating up. 1.0 will go to a potential vote this month, says Senator John Tester. I'll have the latest details in today's reporting. Then 2.0 has passed in the House. It's been sent to the Senate. And the Republicans, yes, in the Senate say they're ready to merge it with their version 3.0. A new element of bipartisanship heating up across the board, and it's also in CR for Stimulus 4.0, the Russian sanction bill, with the potential invasion of Ukraine by Vladimir Putin no less than a week away. Wow. This would give you an opportunity to get a check as well in this fourth package of CR for Stimulus 4.0. Meantime, the president's opportunity to give you a campaign promise finally heating up as well. It's SS 200, an additional $200 a month, but now this time, not just for 6 to 12 months, but a lifetime. Wow. Then we have the opportunity of the president to repurpose existing sums of money across the board. All those incredible details in today's recording. We're going to go over the passage of the incredible recon and the CR for Stimulus 1.0, the big money of those Senate changes, and then the exciting details of the thousands of dollars in checks in the recon, and that would come by CR for Stimulus. Then we'll be looking at the big money later in this recording that you can get today as well. It's third stimulus, stay at the very end, as $10,000 to $20,000 still at issue. We got a lot of money in this recording with CR for Stimulus 1, 2, 3, and 4.0 heating up, SS 200, the Build Back Better Act, third stimulus paying down people big sums of money. Everything is right. Everything makes total sense. Everything makes total sense. Except every time that Kanye calls out Pete Davidson. All those incredible details heat up this big, bold, beautiful morning, and the excitement starts right here, right now, as Mornings LALATE gets underway. Hey, good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful day. And a week ago, though, that House passed now two bodies of legislation, the Build Back Better Act and the CR for Stimulus 1.0. And the Senate changes will be robust. MSCs in the Build Back Better Act and CR for Stimulus 2 be merged with 3.0. Wow. We have the latest details on that, plus the opportunity for the senators to do 4.0 with the Russian invasion. Is Vladimir Putin getting you a stimulus check from Russia with love? It's coming up in today's recording. Stay at the very end because I have lots of checks for you in today's recording. Plus, we'll be looking at SS 200. It was a campaign promise, 6 to 12 months, $200 on top of your existing checks. What about $200 lifetime every month? Wow, that's huge, and we have never seen money like that. It's coming up in today's recording. Then we'll be looking at the big money at hand with repurposing existing sums of money. It could be thousands of dollars in your hand, and boy, you haven't seen anything like this. And you haven't found anything like this at all. This is LALATE, and I want you to subscribe. Help this channel, currently number 3 most watched financial news channel in America, become number 2. Hit that subscribe button. The link is under the video. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member of Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. The link is under the video's description. Meantime, sign up for the LALATE alerts, a link to which is also under the video's description. We're going to start with the Build Back Better Act, the fourth stimulus recon passed in the House, now in the Senate. And those checks in that Build Back, boy, there's a lot of them. As a Purple Hawk, you need to know every check because it's all your money ahead of time. We're going to go over all of them, plus the MSC checks, and we're starting right now. There's at least $15,000, but upwards of $60,000 of checks in this Build Back Better Act. 3 clusters, 3 add-ons. Get your pen and paper ready. We're going to go over all those incredible checks, starting right now with cluster number 1. Hazard pay got in there. For my earned income tax credit for my essential workers, got it in there. $4,000 of elder care, got it in there. the money to care for young children, the $3,600 of the CTC 1 more year, the home repairs if you live in a low-income community, the $550 check for the Pell Grant, and then the money to repair your home, the $12,500 for the new electric vehicle. Wow, there's a lot of money in this incredible recon. Now, that is the first of 3 clusters of checks. Let's look at the first of 3 add-on checks. And the first one is one that makes so many viewers so excited because it comes from here in Southern California. It comes from Maxine Waters. It's upwards of $25,000 for the purchase of your first home, given from the federal government to the seller at the time of escrow. Wow, that is incredibly huge. That is one of 3 add-ons of checks. Now let's, with that, look at the second cluster of checks, which involves more home repairs. These are to weatherize your home, not to winterize, but to weatherize your home. And then the paid leave. What is paid leave? This is if you have to stay home due to illness, and it's a lot of money. How much money? It is $1,700 a week if you make $70,000 or more per year. If you make $35,000 or more per year, it is $800 a week. $15,000 annual salary, it's $400 a week. How many weeks? 4 to 6 weeks per year. So yeah, that's a lot of money. $46,000, 1099 to W-2, you all get these sums of money. Now, if you don't work, but your son or daughter does work, they're going to get the check if they have to take off for work because of they have to take you to the doctor, for example. Incredible. And that is paid leave. That is the second cluster of checks. Time for the second add-on, and I think you know what it is. It's the free home health care for seniors and people on disabilities. And if you know the number right on the live chat right now, it starts with the number 2. I bet you know the number right now. There we go. Someone just wrote it. It's $250 billion. It is free home health care for seniors and people on disabilities, just a little bit less than $250. Came from Bob Casey, got it in there, and it's huge. Now let's turn to the third cluster, checks. That's where we find deliciousness. Seniors, free internet for all, checks. Independent contractor, checks. Farmers, checks. Free school meals for all, checks. And then the seniors, 2 checks on the House, more coming on the Senate. What are those checks? On the House side, they got in there the Medicaid gap fix. More about that later in this video. And then the checks for hearing. On the Senate side, they vowed to add in there dental, vision, and lowering the eligibility age of Medicare, which is par for the course of the Senators adding checks in there, which involves also the other third add-on. And if you know that third add-on and those 3 letters right in the live chat right now, it starts with the letter M. There you go. Someone just wrote it. It's MSC. MSC is a potential add-on to the Build Back Better Act. What is it? How does it work? How much money do you get? And when would it get added? Well, let's go over all those incredible details right now. MSC refers to monthly IRS stimulus check. It's an instrument in which checks come out monthly from IRS to you to be added to the Build Back Better Act. Now, there are multiple checks in this recon, the Build Back Better, upwards of 60,000. These are checks that come from IRS. And boy, is this huge. Now, who gets these IRS stimulus checks? The eligibility would be the same as a third stimulus check, says the legislators to tens of thousands of viewers of this channel since last year. Single individual, 75,000 less annual income, you get it. Married couple, 150,000 less annual income, you get it, but it's doubled. Family of 4, quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, rural benefits, you get as well. It is not income, it's not taxable. It is offered nationwide and not on a state-by-state basis. And it goes off the most recent tax return. So that recent tax return had a direct deposit account on it. That's how you get paid, otherwise in the mail. Then the amount, how much is it? $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter for up to 6 months is the calculation, says those legislators to viewers of this channel. So then the next question is, how do they get it in there? Let's go over those details right now with looking at the Senate modifications of those legislations. And we go over to the Senate. Well, the way that the senators would add MSC in there is during the Senate subcommittee. They have the legislation from the House, and they would add provisions to that Build Back Better Act that currently has thousands of pieces of checks in there in the Senate subcommittee. Then they got a Senate bill. Then they send it to a Senate floor vote. Then, when they're done, Then they have the two-day votorama. But that event has not happened. And it's been 11 months. So 3 weeks ago, I delivered back on air a message to the viewers of this channel. I said, do you want to bring back CR for stimulus? And they said yes. And it's back on, baby. So what is CR for stimulus? And why, in less than 1 week of it back on this channel, did CR for stimulus 2.0 get passed in the House? My goodness, that was fast. We're going to go over the latest update on 3rd and 4th. But first, let's go over what CR for stimulus is. CR for stimulus goes for the simple proposition of putting a check into a small bill that's just a few hundred pages in length, that's bipartisan, that has an inherent deadline that can go out fast across the board. And it was created by me in 2020. In 2020, we had a first stimulus package passed at the start of the pandemic. Millions of Americans ran through that money and they needed more. So a second stimulus package was in the works. It was in the works, and as a package, it was thousands of pages in length. The negotiators that started in the spring were Nancy Pelosi out of the House, from San Francisco, Speaker of the House, and negotiating on behalf of the Republicans was Steve Mnuchin out of New York, Treasury Secretary. Spring negotiations, no deal. Summer negotiations, no deal. Fall negotiations, no deal. And then winter negotiations, no deal. So by December, I said, we got to do something else. And so I was looking for something bipartisan, inherent deadline, just a couple hundred pages as a bill, and could get passed fast with bipartisan support, and I found it. A continuing resolution. A continuing resolution is a budget bill that's done every 6 to 12 months to fund the federal government. It has an inherent deadline because they may roll it over a few days, a few weeks, maybe a month, but not several months, because no one wants the federal government to default, neither Republicans nor Democrats. It's easy, it's bipartisan, and you put the check in there. So I prepared how to make the first recording, how to advocate for it, the creation, and then also how to react to the potential criticism. And then in December 2020, I made the very first recording going on air to explain my new creation and to show the viewers why I thought it would work. And this is what I said in December 2020. I said, hey, everybody, it's LALATE. How are ya? And it's been 11 months of negotiations of the second stimulus package, and it's not happening still. So I've come up with a new creation overnight. It's called CR for Stimulus. If you know what the hashtag campaign is right now, write it in the live chat. I said the reason I like it is because it has an inherent deadline. December 2020 is when the CR is due. It has bipartisan support. They're going to do this by bipartisan support. And also, I like it because it's small. It's just a few hundred-page bill. Do you like the idea? Viewers love the idea. So we pushed CR for stimulus day in, day out. And then we woke up one morning and we learned stimulus was in the continuing resolution. The wrong one. Unemployment stimulus. So we pushed back again. And then the criticisms came on in. And the criticism was exactly what I anticipated. What did they say? LALATE, that's ridiculous. Craziest idea I've ever heard, CR for stimulus. It doesn't belong in there. A continuing resolution is to fund the federal government. Money for the American people doesn't belong in there. I said, you're right. I said, you're right. I prepared exactly for that type of criticism, and you're right, but it doesn't mean they can't do it. Since the beginning of time, Congress has passed legislation where they insert money into the package that doesn't belong in there. They can put this in here as well. Here's the case in point. During the pandemic, they put in money to fund a federal military government. They put in money to build a new FBI building, and they put money in to expand the Department of Copyrights. They can put our check in there as well. And we woke up one morning, and finally, it was in there. CR for stimulus got a $600 stimulus check in there. I made history. You made history. And that check went out. $600 landed in your hand, and it was in the second stimulus. It was in the continuing resolution. It was the result of the creation of this channel. Case in point, after the fact, second stimulus never went to a vote, never got a final bill, and never paid you a check. Thank goodness for CR for stimulus. So when I brought back on the channel 3 weeks ago, 1 week later, the House Democrats came out and said, you know what? We like the Build Back Better Act. We support it. It will pass. Joe Biden said that the checks are going out from Build Back Better. But we need other economic pieces, plural, of legislation done right now because it's been too long. And that's House Democrats. Within 24 hours of that statement, the House Democrats passed the first piece of legislation. And I call that CR for Stimulus 2.0. It's now lying in the Senate. And the great news is that the senators who are Republicans say they're going to pass their version 3.0 with 2.0. I'll have the latest update on that, plus CR for Stimulus 1.0 in the second half of this video. Then Vladimir Putin and the Ukrainian potential invasion, it impacts CR for Stimulus 4.0. That's coming up. Then, can the president repurpose existing sums of money? He can, and this would be big checks to you across the board. All the latest details on that. Then, SS200, a campaign promise that would provide an additional $200 per month on top of existing benefits. I'm going to go over why SS200 2.0 is back on this channel, baby. And for the first time, you're only going to see on this channel how SS200 will pay you the money you have been promised, but a lot more. $200 a month, approximately. Over 12 months, that's $2,400. Lifetime, wow. Those incredible great news. Stay to the very end. I'll also have for you the big money from third stimulus that viewers are getting $10,000 to $20,000 still across the board. We got a big morning to LA. The excitement's far from over. We're just getting started. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds as more checks heat up the second half of this live broadcast from Santa Monica. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now on the second half of Morning to LALATE. Really incredible great news about CR for Stimulus 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, and 4.0. All breaking news, all today on Morning to LALATE. I'm excited here, and we have a lot to go through. Then we'll be looking at the big changes that the senators would be making. And why is there a new element about bipartisan support? Where did this come from? And why are Democrats trying to work hand in hand with Republicans and vice versa? It's brand new, and it's Seats for Stimulus, and it's only on LALATE. Then we'll be turning to the big money in this recon. The Build Back Better Act will be going over all those incredible checks, and we'll be looking at SS200 and how that is now heating up with a new version for 2022. All those incredible details coming up in the second half of this video. I'm excited you're here. But first, I want you part of this family, and I want you to subscribe. Go right on this video and bring LALATE, the #3 most watched financial news channel, to #2. Like the video and become a member. Subscribe, like the video, and become a member to get the incredible newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, via the YouTube alert system and the LALATE alert system, the link to which is also in the video's description below as well. And as we go into the big second half, we're going to start up with CR for Stimulus 1.0, which is where we left off. The continuing resolution and the opportunity to get a check into that current continuing resolution. What is its deadline? It's late February. So what we're looking at here is trying to insert a stimulus check into the continuing resolution. Why does this make as much sense now as it did back then? One thing you got to remember with CR for Stimulus 2020 was it was December, and less than 2 months away was the Senate Georgia seat election. That was a critical date in which Republicans and Democrats were vowing to get your support for those Georgia seats. So that's why they wanted to give you checks. Well, it's very much the same case right now. We have the midterm elections just around the corner, and Republicans and Democrats are both trying to get you checks. So what you are looking at right now on the update for CR for Stimulus 1.0 is Senator John Tester, Democrat from Montana, says if you get 4 guys in the Senate to agree upon the price tag, we're done. Those guys are one Republican, Mitch, Chuck Schumer, and Bob and another Democrat. And the issue is that if you get those 2 Democrats in hand, then you're ready to rock and roll. So you want to advocate to those 2 Democrats by picking up the phone saying, first, 1, get it done this month. Don't roll it over stopgap. And number 2, more importantly, put that check in there. I've had your back during this Build Back Better Act for 11 months now. You don't have it done. And I need it. We need it. You promised it. I've had your back. You want to retain ownership or control of the Senate? Then put it in there across the board. Republicans will also want to put it in there as well because that is an important part of the equation. And there you go. That is the latest update on CR for Stimulus 1.0. So what is the update on 2.0? Well, 2.0 heated up when the Democratic House members, led by Representative Pete Aguilar out of California, said we need pieces of legislation to be passed that deals with economic recovery, and that we absolutely have our eyes on the economic recovery. There will be pieces of legislation that we discuss that will continue to help alleviate supply chain and deal with inflationary pressure. Very, very fascinating across the board. And this comes as the reaction also is coming on in. So CR for Stimulus 2.0 passed 2 Fridays ago, then landed in the Senate. And what happened? Well, the Senate Republicans said, I'm ready to merge our idea with yours. This is CR Stimulus 3.0 merging with 2.0. Senator Todd Young, who's a GOP backer, said that we're hoping that the process will continue to move forward and the Democrats have passed their bill in the House. We can move forward with our piece of legislation in the Senate Republican group and do what's more reflective of what we can produce. We'll work to get it done quickly here with the House and the Senate together. Wow, that's incredible. What is this new spirit of compromise? The spirit of compromise is a new version of Seats for Stimulus, first created on this channel. Seats for Stimulus was an advocacy of this channel back in 2020, which said basically, give us our stimulus or we'll take your seats. Well, guess what? Republicans and Democrats both understand the way to get, grab, or retain seats in the Senate is to give economic recovery to the American people. It does not involve just complaining about the economy. It's actually doing something, calling for a vote and passing it. And that's why when we look at the comments from Pete Menendez, Pete Aguilar, he is referring to pieces of legislation that are economic recovery because Build Back Better, social reform, and economic recovery. Social reform is dental, vision, and hearing. But people need that, but they also need money in their wallets. And that is why CR for Stimulus 2 and 3 merging together is great news. Now, what's the update on 4? 4.0 is looking to add it to the Russian sanctions bill. Russian sanctions bill, a little bit different, but meets all the criterion. Bill small. Bipartisan support, yes. Bob Menendez and Marco Rubio, Democrat and Republican. Inherent deadline, yes. Opportunity slide in there? Well, yes. Now, here's what's strange, is that over a week ago, I said to you that it had an inherent deadline, and the deadline was then in question as we were watching with Chuck not yet calling for a vote. We thought it would be voted on already. Well, the issue right at hand right now, you're hearing for the first time on Mornings LALATE, is that most insiders believe that Vladimir Putin will invade Ukraine this coming week. So you pass a sanctions bill before the guy invades, not after the guy invades. And so that's why this sanctions bill is right there on the edge of the finish line. You want them to insert a check into either 1, 2, 3, or 4, whichever one works, and get it out across the board. And that is your update on those. I'll be going back to Build Back Better later in this recording. But now let's go to the President of the United States and how he can also get you other sums of money, very simply, without Congress. The first way is repurposing existing sums of money. The second way is giving new guidance, and that is SS200. I'm going to start with the idea of repurposing money. How does this work? Well, the federal government establishes programs for COVID relief, and the programs are dedicated to run a certain number of months and are funded. But when the programs are over, sometimes the funds are not all used up. So where do those funds go? Nowhere. They stay in the agency. So what is the concept of repurposing? Contacting the agency saying, you're sending out this money for something else. How did this work? It most commonly happened during the Trump administration. During the Trump administration, he understood that millions of Americans needed additional weeks of FPUC, that's $600 a week that went on top of your UI and PUA. But he had to go back to Congress to do that. So he didn't want to do that. No one would want to do that. So he looked high and low to find some extra money, and he found it at FEMA, the agency that deals with tornado, hurricanes, and natural disasters. Extra money. Their program had ended. The money was still sitting there. He said, you know what? Send out that money. And they did. LWA. No executive order, no writing, no act of Congress, just a phone call, in and out. Donald Trump had a second opportunity, and that second opportunity he passed up, and I believe it cost him the election. What was that second opportunity? $550 billion of money sitting at the Small Business Administration, SBA, from programs that ended and the money was never taken. He should have picked up the phone and contacted SBA and repurposed the money. I made hundreds of videos about this. Had he done that, you would have gotten about $5,000 of stimulus checks right before you decided who to vote for the election for president. I think it may have changed a lot of people's votes. He could have repurposed that money and got it out. Very simple across the board. Ultimately, that money is no longer at SBA. So Joe Biden can do much the same thing right now. All Joe Biden has to do is locate those unused sums of money and repurpose them. If you can find that money, a lot of viewers love finding extra money. Send me a private message on social media and I'll advocate for that money across the board. And that is how you can repurpose money and send it out to the American people. Then, the excitement of SS200. My goodness. This is the third opportunity for Joseph Biden to send out money to Americans. And we're talking about an additional $200 a month. I'm going to go over all these incredible details starting right now. In January 2020, Liz Warren was running for president of the United States. And as her campaign promised, she vowed to overhaul the Social Security Administration, removing the asset cap, the income cap, the marriage penalty, and giving you an additional $200 a month for 6 to 12 months because your benefits were left behind and were not at current market levels. Well, she ultimately introduced this legislation as a proposal to the Senate floor. Ronald Wyden loved it. So did Chuck Schumer. But Elizabeth Warren eventually withdrew for her run for president. And Joe Biden says, I like her policies, I'm going to adopt them. So he wrote in writing the same policy. He said it verbally. And then he ran his election on that platform. He won. And in his campaign transition papers, which you can still see as president-elect before sworn in at joebiden.com, he said he's going to give it to you, $200 a month on top of your existing benefits for 6 to 12 months. But what happened is he didn't. And suddenly when he didn't, the Democrats said, you know what? What's going on here? They proposed fifth stimulus, which I covered all last year on this channel, a big bill to do this. But I'm going to show you how while you can't do this simply for removing the asset cap, income cap, marriage penalty, you can do the SS200 with simply a phone call. Wow. How does this work? First, let's go over the nuances of this first and the numbers of it, and then we're going to go over how it functionally works. All this requires is Joseph Biden to pick up the phone and call the Social Security Administrator he put in and say say the following. You're removing COLA and now paying benefits based upon inflation. And I want you to do this 30 days out from now. It'll pay millions of Americans $200 more per month, not just 6 to 12 months as I promised, but a lifetime. It's that simple, folks. No executive order, no act of Congress, no recon, just a phone call. Now let's go over the nuances of how this works. First, let's go over the calculations. Your benefits are determined based upon COLA. It's a benchmark that's been around for many years. It doesn't move. It's a horrible benchmark. 2010 to 2011, your checks are about the same. 2011 to 2012, they're about the same because COLA is not moving. They want to get rid of COLA, replace it with inflation because inflation always goes up 2-3% every year. So last year, COLA came in at 5.9%. Good, but inflation's more. If you switch it to inflation, get an additional 2 to 3% right out the door. And that is $200 more per month. Very simple. And that is lifetime. Now, how does Joe Biden do this? This is very simple. If you're watching this channel a year ago, you remember a graphic on this channel about a Commissioner Saul. He's head of Social Security Administration at the time, a Trump appointee. Joe Biden really disliked him, fired him, put his appointee in there instead. Well, all Joe Biden has to do is pick up the phone and say, hey, it's Joe. I got you the job. I want you to replace COLA with inflation 30 days out and start paying those checks accordingly. He's done this before. Biden has picked up the phone, contacted Department of Agriculture, say pay more money. That's 25% more lifetime starting the month of October. And that became a reality. All he has to do is the same thing for SS200. And how much more money would you get? On average, $2,400 more per year, lifetime. Now, for the first time ever in this channel, I'm going to give a very, very tough love moment right here. It doesn't really belong anywhere else. I'm going to come in really tough. I want to come in really, really tough on you because I've seen this growing and it can't because it's a very, very bad mindset. I've covered SS200 a long time. I've covered for now, a year and a half. And every single time that SS200 gets more exciting with better news and more likelihood of getting done to give you the money, there's also more people appearing that say there's something bad about getting more money. What? It is only when it comes to reporting SSI or SSI-DI or Social Security news that some people think that every good news has bad news behind it, that there's a trick to everything. I want you to take that out of your thinking process. I've seen it a lot and it needs to stop. It's not what's going to happen here. Here's an example. You know that Social Security is taxable. So let's say you make $15,000 a year in Social Security, you pay taxes on it. So if I'm telling you you're going to make an extra $2,400 a year, then you're making $17,000 a year. That's taxable. Well, on this wrong mindset, someone say, oh, so I'm going to have to pay taxes on it. It's really not good. You already paid taxes on $15,000. So now you're going to pay taxes on $17,500. What's the big difference? You're still just paying taxes. There is no trick to this. There is no one thing is bad thing. It started first when the SNAP was announced by Joe Biden, that your SNAP was going up 25%. As soon as I made the announcement of it, people said, oh, there's going to be a trick to it. There's going to be something bad about it. Please don't do that to yourself. That's not how the government works. It's not a this and then a trick. It's a good thing. All right, and that is lifetime. Now, let's go into the big money that is in the fourth stimulus recon, because you know how it works. As a Purple Hawk, my job is for you to know all the big checks in this recon before it becomes law, because guess what? As soon as it becomes law, I want you to pounce and get that money. If you're not a Purple Hawk, go into this video and become a member right today. I'm going to go over all those incredible checks that are in that recon passed by the House. They're going to stay in there. They ain't going to be removed. I'm going to go over each of them starting right now. If you don't understand a check, send me a private message, because this is how you learn. So I want to make sure you know every check and how to pounce. They got the SALT cap in there, raising from $10,000 to $72,500 of what you can deduct and see in local taxes. They got cheaper prescription medication, growing from 20 medications a day 1 to 30 medications in 2028. They got $40 billion of free job training checks in there as well. They got the Medicaid gap fix in there as well to provide workaround assistance to people in 12 Republican holdout states that vowed never to provide Medicaid. They got in there the $65 a month for nutrition, $12,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle, U.S. auto manufactured at the time of purchase, not a rebate, has to be made in the United States. $550 check for the Pell Grant recipients. They got in there the earned income tax credit for hazard pay, 1 more year. Learn about it at irs.gov. The child tax credit, CTC, learn about that at irs.gov. Also, they got in there the child care and those other provisions, which then brings us to the housing. 2 provisions that are new in housing, and then the rest that we remember from third stimulus coming back under fourth stimulus. So they got in there the home repairs if you live in a low-income community, and then the weatherize your home across the board in there. This is for all types of communities. But then the other checks that are repeated from third stimulus are back on in fourth stimulus. The great news, and this is where you want to listen in very carefully, is that you can get this money right now. Viewers have gotten $10,000 to $20,000 the last week. I'm going to show you how to get these big sums of money right now. Get your pen and paper out and follow along with the newsletter. If you're a member, if you're not a member, go into this video and become a member right now. Here you go. This is a graphic from October. It's grown a lot. Viewers on average are getting about $40,000 for rent. Where do you get it? 6 places. You ready? City Hall, City House Authority. County Hall, County House Authority. State Hall and State House Authority. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID. Mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. 6 things you must do. Actually, 3 things you must do. You must reach out to all 6 places. You must say the key words, and you must get multiple rounds. More about those multiple rounds in a second. Then utility assistance because of COVID. Reach out to all utility companies and get that money. Mark's brother-in-law is getting $15,000 a year. Then, and get SNAP, you get it from the Department of Agriculture. Eligibility is easier than the stimulus check. Mark's brother-in-law is getting $25,000 a year over 10 years. It's $250,000. Listen to Nisi and Art Sullivan, and they were the inspiration. They got 3 items. I told everyone ever since to get 3 items. Here was Mark at 2 items at 32. I said, Mark, where's your third? He got his third. Brought him to 50,000. Now he's over 100,000. Lorraine, she was at 105, and now she's at 120. So what is this rounds? Well, I want you to get this round right now all the way out to May. If you just found this channel, welcome. Subscribe and become a member. I want you to reach out to all those 6 places. If they fund you, try to get the money out to May. Can't go to May, then do April or come in closer. If you got money before from this channel for this item, then get another round as well. Most viewers last got a round in December. May have been a November, December, January round. A lot of viewers got 3 months of rent. So now get it out far into potentially the early summer. And that's how we rock and roll. Then finally, my commentary as we go into a big second half of the day with noontime LA heating up in just a second. We have lots of bodies of legislation at issue. We have CR for stimulus 1, 2, 3, and 4. There is the opportunity to insert a check into any of those bodies of legislation. You just want one. We have this renewed bipartisanship because Republicans and Democrats both understand to win the midterm elections, they need to give you some economic recovery. That's not dental vision. It is money to deal with inflation and pressures at the pump. Things like that, cost of goods sold. Then we have the president's opportunity to repurpose the sums of money. And finally, the big one, SS200, changing things across the board. It's important as a Purple Hawk that you know all these incredible checks in this recon. In the next few days, you're going to see a special report on this channel that looks back at the first year and a half of this channel. If you saw on Twitter or Facebook and overnight, boy, this channel reached a big milestone with over 1 million, excuse me, really said that wrong. Over 1.7 billion minutes watched on this channel in about a year and a half. I'm going to go over why it works in a universe in which positivity works, motivation works, and smiling works. When I came on the scene and I was outside, I used to always joke in those earlier days. I don't want to hit the microphone, so I'm going to try it over here. I used to always joke about those people that do this thing, point to left and do. And I thought, what is that? And then, then they do these videos that say things like, stock market's going to crash 2,000 points. You're going to lose every crypto investment. Everything is going to crash and burn. And I said, it ain't that bad. Don't be so negative. And I really loved what I saw last night in the live chat. It's Valentine's weekend, and people were spreading Valentine's love. I posted a Valentine's message on social media as well. And one person said she doesn't have a Valentine. Her husband has passed. It wasn't clear if he had just passed recently, but other people say, I'll be your Valentine. Just incredible sentiment of love in this channel. Then another person in the live chat said, I'm watching your video. It's pepping me up. My husband's in surgery. She literally said that. Her husband was in surgery. And I guess tacky jokes about Mitch's lobster shorts puts a smile on people's faces. You know, early, in last year, there would always be someone that says, you know, that the jokes about the check on the beach and waving to the check, can we move on from that? And some people, that's just something that puts a smile on your face, whether it's the baconing, or the yahing, or the anning. Sometimes these things just put a smile on your face. You know, the fact that my bacon is always missing does not put a smile on my face. The fact that lobster shorts have been outlawed in 49 states does put a smile on my face. But other than that, that is why we're here. And we're here to sort of get through things together. If you hear a provision in the Build Back Better Act and you don't understand it, send me a private message. Send me a private message, because guess what? If I get 3 private messages, I'll make a recording if I get 1. But if I get 3 private messages, it means I didn't cover that right. And that's how I learned. That's how I learned on the very first recording. People saying, can you explain this thing? And I said, oh, I guess it's a big issue. I got to explain it. And that's how you grow as a person. People who know every check and how to get the checks are the people who are winning with this channel. People who are winning with this channel are people who are not standing by the mailbox on the street corner every day and looking in the mailbox saying, is there anything in the mailbox for me? There's not. Okay, I'll just come back tomorrow and look. That's not how you win. The way you win is getting these sums of money. If you've had a success story for getting third stimulus, for rent, utilities, food, or internet, and I've not featured on air, send me a private message. I'll feature it next week. If you're on the live chat, post it right now, because it inspires people. I haven't said that in a couple of weeks. Every success story inspires people. It's a domino effect. People start seeing that person got 4,000, that person got 6,000, that person got 20,000. I'm going to go get that money as well. If someone says, how do I get to the community page? I think I saw that on Morning's Countdown this morning. Post the link, or say the link is in the description of the video. Tell them where the link is. It's infectious, the helping spirit across the board. Meantime, Sandy had said to me, LALATE, can you give me an oatmeal raisin cookie recipe for cookies? Do you have that? I actually do. And so I will deliver that next in about less than an hour, as a special noontime broadcast heats up with oatmeal raisin cookies. Again, sugar-free. And the oatmeal is oatmealing. I don't know how you say that. That's at noontime, and the noon will be nooning. And with that, I want you to subscribe, like the video, and become a member. Shows throughout the day. We're bringing Afternoons LA today at 3 o'clock, and Evenings LA at 5, 6, 7, and 8 o'clock. And with that, I want you to subscribe. Bring this channel to number 2, number 3, biggest watched financial channel in America. Like the video and consider becoming a member. Keep a smile on the face. Don't eat too much this weekend. You don't want to feel like a football. You want to be able to fit in those lobster shorts when the sun is in. Yeah, I know you're watching. Stay informed, stay focused. Have a beautiful morning, and stay with our